Go literally through about 8 websites and show the application of these ideas. Is the brand memorable, right? So, you know, we always found Rackspace. I'd say Rackspace to somebody and they go, oh yeah, Rackspace. Digex was an easy one to remember. Is the logo creative? This is all marketing 101. But guys, just as it was applicable in the managed hosting dedicated server market, it is absolutely applicable to the cloud or even to the other kinds of companies that I get involved in. Is it spellable? Right? Can you spell the name after the fact? Does it match the domain? Oftentimes you'll hear really actually a very good company name and then the domain name has all sorts of dashes or I mean, it's like you can't type it even if you remember the name of the company. Don't do that to yourselves, especially where you have a chance to rebrand it. And does the name match what's being sold? So think back, you know, when we had Rackspace, we wanted to go into the low end of the market. We didn't, you know, Rackspace was not a low-end provider, okay? So we came up with a brand to compete with RackShack called Server Beach. Does Server Beach sound like a very enterprise-associated brand? No, thank you. Yeah, no way. I mean, that's low end. Now, on the high end of the market, we wanted a high-end brand, and we bought the intensive.com domain, and that was our Microsoft platforms only. Intensive.com sounded much better. All right, so secondly, so we're looking at the brand and all those elements. Next, we look at differentiation. Is the differentiator clear? Fanatical support, pretty clear, right? I mean, we could consistently message it. Is it unique? And I think Antonio said this. I mean, frequently, Andy and I will go into companies, and they'll say, hey, just like Antonio, yeah, we're going to make service our difference. And I'm like, guys, you know, you're not going to unseat fanatical support as the service message. So, you know, let's try to think of something else that people can go after. And then once you've decided on your differentiation to the extent that you can know your word, it's good to do. And I'm going to look at an example in a second of a company that actually, they did pick a word, but it's a, we'll get to it in a second. What's your value proposition? Does your value proposition support that differentiation? Are there third-party references, endorsements? You know, it could be PC World, it could be Gartner, it could be anybody else. And then finally, are you backing it up with nested activities? Anybody remember our conversation about nested activities 3 years ago? Nested activities is like what Southwest Airlines does when they say, hey, we're going to have one plane. So every pilot can fly every plane. Guess what? We don't assign seats. You know, you're going to line up and you're going to get on the plane quickly and we're going to turn it in 15 minutes. We're going to fly into small regional airports. And at the very end of the presentation, we're going to look at a list of things that you can do in the cloud space. And you've got to pick which are your nested activities and which aren't. Okay? Tell me, show me. All right? And this is something that I'm constantly talking about with web entrepreneurs. You know, is your offering easy to understand? And then we're going to see some examples that are and some that aren't. Is there documentation in there so that a user doesn't really, to the extent that you can give good documentation, then you don't have to sit there and plan on spending a lot of time on tech support. So a little bit of, you know, it's kind of like measure twice, cut once. Spend the time on the documentation. You can really cut out a lot of needless support calls. Because a lot of these developers are very sophisticated. Are there videos and graphics that explain it? I'm a big believer in videos. There was actually just a study that came out this morning from, it's like Buto TV. Does anybody know Buto.tv? I don't know. But they said the average attention span that they're finding on all of their videos online, ready? 1 minute, 31 seconds. 1 minute, 31 seconds. That's how much attention people are willing to give to watch the videos. So is there a demo of the product? Can you download a demo, log in? Can it be tried for free? Everybody knows about freemium. And is the product simple to get started? All right. Finally, contact. Okay. Are there at least 2 methods of contact? 2 methods of contact. A clear 800 number. Okay, and we're going to talk about this. A chat, proactive. Rackspace is very proactive on the chat. It's always in your face. Some people love it. Some people hate it. I can tell you it works. Or you can also have click to chat, which is a little more genteel. It's a little more polite, maybe. But you have to decide what's consistent with your brand. And are the contact methods, sometimes people will get those contact methods right on the front page of the site, and then they forget to put them throughout the rest of the site. And once somebody digs in, then they're looking for a contact us, or they're looking for that somewhere else. And finally, I'm going to say prospect interaction. Okay? And here's the secret. Okay? I want everybody, to the extent y'all have pens, y'all want to pick up the pens and write this down? Okay? So before the presentation, I found, I think, 16 websites. 13 of them had 800 numbers. Ready? And here's my secret for y'all today. Okay? This is worth the price of admission. Ready? Answer the phone. Please answer the phone. I know it sounds simple, but out of 13 websites that I contacted, do you know how many answered the phone? Let me hear your numbers. Out of 13. 2. DataPipe answered and Rackspace answered. That's it. Everybody else gave me into an IVR system. Showing of hands. How many of y'all like to call the airlines and get put into an IVR system? How many of y'all like to call the bank and get put into an IVR system? How many of y'all like to call and actually talk to a person? You don't like to talk to a person? Okay. I can't believe in 2010 that people aren't answering the phone. And we'll talk about when it makes sense and when it doesn't make sense, because I understand there's some nuances to the cloud. Next, prospect interaction. Understanding your offering, kill sheets. All of your salespeople need to have kill sheets so that they know, what are they doing. They need to understand the competition, because everybody's going to ask them about the competition, and you need to have not negative things to say about the competition, but you have to be able to set them aside and say why you're more qualified. And for God's sake, this is a service business. Manish kept on talking to me about cloud services, cloud services, cloud services. Be ready to serve. And if you don't want to serve, get out of the business and go do something else. Okay? So that's our methodology. Brand, differentiation, tell me, show me, contact, and then prospect interaction. And literally, as we're going through these websites, that's what we're thinking about nonstop. All right, so let's just go through an actual few examples. Here's a company, Ignite. I don't know how many of y'all see that, but I think the name is, I actually like the name. My problem with the name is it's hard to remember, and even in preparation for the presentation today, a couple times I've misspelled it. The logo I actually think is pretty cool. It looks fiery, it looks fast, it looks like they're going to do something. I like the fact that they have a try for free positioning on the cloud. They talk about your file servers in the cloud, but it doesn't necessarily tell me it's on demand, so I don't know how they're going to price it, etc. It does have a sales number, and they have excellent references on the bottom of the Washington Post, Information Week, PC World, the Wall Street Journal. I go, huh, okay, they're pretty good. Dropbox. How many of y'all know about Dropbox? Okay, so the last thing on my list for Dropbox is their PR is excellent. I think I read something like 29 articles about Dropbox. I mean, it was all over the place. Who's ever doing their PR gets a gold star in my book. I think their name is good. It's easy to remember. I like their logo. The homepage, you've got two choices. You can watch the video or you can download it. It's cross-platform. You can try it for free. At the time that they came out, they were offering more storage than Google. Inside the video, they talk about their positioning as a magic pocket, but you'll see it's not mentioned anywhere else. So afterwards, I was kind of like, well, is Magic Pocket really their position or not? But no sales number, and it's possible. And this, I think Patrick hit me over the head with this idea is that even though I believe in answering the phone, sometimes on a cloud offering, especially if it's only $9.95 a month, you can't answer the phone because you will literally lose your margin because it costs about $20 every time you pick up the phone and say hello. Okay? Intuit, QuickBase, good brand recognition, building on the Intuit name. I don't typically like line extension, but QuickBase kind of is in there. They position themselves, and I've talked about this last time, that if you can't be number one in your category as it exists, find a category that you could be number one in. So we were never at Rackspace going to be number one in dedicated hosting, and part of that is why we went ahead and did managed hosting, because we thought, well, we could be number one in managed hosting, and that's what ended up happening. Their video, if you go to the website, their video is excellent. It's 45 seconds. It totally tells you what their value proposition is. You look at it and you go, okay, well, I want to take a look at this. Overall, a very good homepage. No sales number present, but I think it was very